secularism certainly is kind of misconstrued or misunderstood. So I think I can speak for the country, the old country, so where I come from, Pakistan. It is translated into Urdu as la diniyat, which really means the secular, the meaning of secular then become irreligious or non-religious, rather than of this world. I mean, secular, I think if you sort of see another definition from the dictionary, it is of this world. So it is as if separate from of the other world or the sacred world. So it is really much more practical. It is almost impossible to imagine how can a state have a religion. I mean, if you can call a state a Christian state or a Muslim state, but how does a state have a religion? I think what we do mean by secularism is that the state or the laws remain neutral between all religions. Isn't that they're not irreligious, but they're just neutral.
It's often in our country where secularism or separation of church and state is seen by some religious people as a threat, as somehow diminishing religion, whereas really the principle, the rule of law exists to protect religion, so that people can worship freely, and that your religion is not going to supersede my religion and become, therefore, the majority religion. As Rabbi Orkan was saying, there's always a tendency, wherever there is a majority, for that majority to want to say, ours is the one that will rule. And so when people talk about, for instance, having prayers in public places, sometimes that slips over into saying, well, it's going to be my religion that's going to take precedence. But secularism at its best means that we can all be free to practice how God is leading us to worship, how God is leading us to live our lives. And in my mind, being the son of immigrant parents from Europe, religion is flourishing far more in this country than it is in Europe, in part because of that protection of religion that we have here, as opposed to the state religions that they had in Europe, where everybody had to believe a certain way, and if you didn't, you weren't religious. Well, then people have just dropped away from that, and church attendance is very small in so many of the European countries where there was a state religion.
You bring a very interesting point, Reverend, because I had Mustafa Akyol from Turkey here on my program, who is an intellectual in Turkey, and he wanted to make a distinction between secularism as it's understood in America versus how it's understood in Turkey. Because in Turkey, he thinks what the secularists mean is taking religion completely off the public sphere. While in America, actually, it is understood that it is very much in the public sphere. It's just that the government is going to remain neutral, but you can discuss religion, right. You can talk about your faith, you can talk about all of that. So there is kind of, I mean, he called his own country, Turkish Republic, in some ways as secular fundamentalists, that they kind of impose it so rigidly. For instance, in Turkey, there is the right to wear a hijab. Is very difficult for them to exercise that. So a lot of Turks send, including the Prime Minister of Turkey, sent his daughter to America, where she could wear the hijab in the universities. And they kind of like this kind of. So we have to be careful even about sort of going a little too extreme against the religion.
I think that in the United States, there has always been this tension between a person's individual rights and the need of the state to protect everyone's rights. There was a thinker in Europe, and I forget who it was, who many, many years ago said that you can judge the health of a state by the way it protects its Jews, meaning its minority. And I think that that is certainly true in the United States, that the strength of this country is that it allows the smallest minority to flourish, to speak truth to power, to be active in any way that it wishes, and the state takes a position that says hands off. We don't want to be involved in that religious faith, nor do we want to impose a faith.